Welcome to the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jack Minogues. I'm still award nominated as well as my co-host.
I'm Brian Hines, and I've got a lot of problems with you people.
And you're award nominated too, right?
What?
It wasn't just one of us that got nominated for award. It was both of us, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we
Weird.
both did.
Weird. The 10th annual Carney Awards.
Yeah. As a team, as a unit.
A unit of I guess 5, right? Me, you, Malachi P.S. Woodard,
Of course.
and Tiny Brian Woodard,
Of course.
and what's the guy that pays for all this thing?
That would be Victor Anderson.
Oh yeah, him. Yeah, he got nominated technically as well. But we, me and you, the heavy lifting, we got nominated for a Carney Award. We definitely.
We done all right. We done all right.
It's so easy to make a joke out of something like that, but I don't intend to have it land as a joke. It's a huge honor for me.
No, I'm still in shock and beyond humbled that we were even considered for anything.
And we found out a little bit more about the process of how we got nominated this past week. So to you guys who nominated us, happy listening. Thank you for tuning in.
Wait, what'd I miss?
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
I'll tell you off air.
All right. We have more important things to talk about
I was
right
going to
now.
say, did we learn something? I don't remember learning anything.
I think you and I learned it at the same time, but it was with a guest of ours who
Friend of the show?
a friend of the show who kind of filled us in on the nominating process for that particular award show.
Oh.
We are happy to be there.
And thrilled, overjoyed.
And when
to be
we
there.
lose, we'll be happy to be there too.
We certainly will.
We'll just get drunker.
Oh yeah, it's open bar there, right?
I don't know. But
Open bar for me.
I don't get a whole lot of invites to award shows, but in this case, I guess we'll just have to see how it goes.
And if you're in the Louisville area that evening, January 14th, we will be there. Let us know. We'll go get, I like Against the Grain a lot. We'll go get some Against the Grain or something before the award show with our dear listeners. If you guys are interested, just let us know.
Mm-hmm.
We have a interview. We have interviews every week. That's
We
what
do.
we do. We have an interview going up. It went up today, actually, as we are speaking, with Dream Girl Ellie.
Yes, that was a fun episode.
That was
fun
a
interview.
Really, really, really fun. Really, really fun to sit down with her. Totally different side of Dream Girl Ellie than you've seen on television, and not just because of her recent change in attitude. Just a different side of her, a lot more of her than I think either rightfully or wrongfully she's been able to show on OVW television.
Yeah, this was one of the episodes where I came into it with one set of expectations and I left with something different entirely. And what we got was so much more than what I thought we were going to get. So thank you, Dream Girl Ellie, for spending time with us. And I'm looking forward to going back and listening to that interview.
And not only, and I think we say this with everybody, not only was it more than we thought we were going to, it was way more than we deserve.
Yes.
It was it was awesome to be able to sit down with Dream Girl Ellie this past week. And we do have another interview coming up.
Oh, we certainly do.
Is this guy, he's really young in the business. He's never done anything.
we're just trying to help, really, to help. Put
Yeah,
him
we're
over a
really,
little.
someone called us, thank you, Tiny Brian, producer Tiny Brian. Someone called us and they said, can you help this young guy out? He hasn't ever worked a WrestleMania. He hasn't ever worked some of the most memorable angles of the entire Attitude Era. He hasn't owned OVW. He hasn't been on Tough Enough. This guy really hasn't done anything in his career.
He hasn't written several
He hasn't
books.
He hasn't written books.
He hasn't done any
He hasn't
comedy.
written television. He hasn't done stand-up. What was his name?
He's certainly not the star of the Netflix docuseries Wrestlers.
And he's not married to Jessica, who gives what looks like in the Netflix series a great back rub.
She's definitely certified to do so.
My back felt better after watching Jessica give our guest a
the
back
more
rub.
we watched that, the more I thought, damn, man, I could go for one of those.
I forget his name though. What's his name?
I don't remember.
Not his legal one. Because
No.
we found that one out.
Yeah, we did find that one out.
It's Al Christmas.
Hallelujah.
Al Snow, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Producer
All right,
Malachi,
guys.
Al Snow, right? Okay.
That was the guy.
We had Al Snow on this past week.
Yeah, we sure did.
It was awesome.
I don't even know where to begin to talk about how
Me neither.
thrilled we were to have him on our show, for him to take time and come down and talk to us at great length.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in fact, guys, so regular listeners will know that our podcast interviews are generally 20 minutes. We don't like to we don't like to keep our wrestlers talking.
People don't know us that much time.
No. But Al was so generous and really kind of took over the studio. Which
is just fine.
Yeah, he basically was the host of that particular show. So we went, I believe, 101 minutes. If Malachi's giving me the high signs that yes, 101 minutes.
That's like 4 episodes.
That's actually what I was going to say, is that the next interview you guys will hear on your feed is actually the first episode of the Al Snow Show.
We will probably break that podcast up into 2.
We try to run a tight ship around here, like, albeit we've got like a fucking 90s cover band above us right now, and you can probably hear them
sorry
off
if
the
you can hear
microphone.
that, but there's nothing we can do.
And I'm really sorry you didn't get to hear their version of "Breaking the Girl" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Really, really sorry.
That's
guys
what that
didn't
was?
Hear that. It was supposed to be.
All right, let's stop building with the Matt Cubbless band. We don't know.
No, seriously. Having Al by, this was being. It will end up being our last interview of the year. It'll end up being one of our last shows that we record this year.
Yes.
And the last 6 months of this has been insane. The last 6 months of this has been actually crazy to live through and
bonkers.
To do. And
guys, just look at the sign behind you. It sort of documents the work you've done.
This is.
You mean that one?
I mean that one. Yeah.
This is everyone that we've ever had
That
on
one
the
right there?
podcast.
The one I'm pointing at?
Yes.
And
that one.
If you zoom in, guys, and enhance, you can see Al Snow is actually the first person to sign on the podcast.
On the actual belt.
Not only did Al Snow sign on the belt, but Head did as well.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Head's actually taken up residency here in the studio.
As Al did when he was here. When the man is in the building, it's his studio.
Indeed. In fact, I finally had to start. I stood up, and you'll hear Al. He's going on, and we're at about probably hour 62, 63.
Something like that.
And I'm sorry, more like 90 or like 88, 89, like deep into this. Just before you guys wrap up, I finally, because I had people texting me, I had, like, the whole building was sort of concerned.
Yeah, we have, like, other things going on in this building, not just a podcast.
And a 90s band to do
and a 90s cover band.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here, folks. So there was some concern, and finally I had to stand up because Jackman wouldn't look me in the eye so I could tell him to wrap the interview.
Well, I mean, I kept just listening to Al.
Yeah.
And Al was actually, as you will hear in the interview, he's the one that said, your producer's standing up right now. I think that means that we need to wind it down. And then I think he talked for another 35 fucking minutes.
There was another. Yeah. That is not the end. That is just. That just marks the end of the beginning of the end.
That is the beginning of the Southern goodbye, where you kind of acknowledge that you need to leave, but you're not going to leave for another half hour or so.
Very
And I
different.
saw you over there giving me the look like we need to wrap this up, and I'm thinking, buddy, we're talking to Al Snow. I'm not going to tell him to do anything.
Hell no.
You tell him we need to wrap it up, because I'm just going to sit here and listen to stories.
Tiny Brian, you're a big guy. Al Snow, he's a bigger guy.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he could take you.
Are you kidding?
Probably all of us.
Yeah, he could take us. He could take all 4 of us simultaneously.
At the same time. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For anybody that hasn't seen a picture or a video or anything from Al Snow since his time in WWE, first off, welcome to the show. I don't know how you find yourself here.
This is 2023.
Second
Welcome aboard.
off, he's bigger than he ever was in his
God,
professional wrestling career.
Yeah.
He is an Adonis, a god amongst men, a statue, right?
Okay, so we've made it clear we love Al Snow.
We do.
He's coming soon, probably in 2 parts, probably next week.
And you know how much I love Al Snow? He just came in 1 part for me.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a cell phone? He sat and talked about my fucking mother so much. And I was trying to get him back. But I think I just got myself instead.
He talked about my mother, and she's been dead for 8 years now.
Hey,
Yeah.
Malachi, sorry to hear about your grandma. All right.
That is how that works.
Let's clear this up. Let's
Yes.
move. Like we're journalists, right?
Yes,
Sometimes.
absolutely.
Yes, you're a journalist in your big pink fluffy Christmas themed. For those of you who only listen to the podcast, you can see us now on YouTube.
You can.
Just search for OVW Podcast on YouTube, and you can see that both of our hosts this evening are Christmas themed. Brian is wearing a nice Festivus shirt because he's here to air grievances.
Yeah, because we have a lot of shit to complain about tonight, baby.
And Jackman is in a pink
Big
fluffy
pink nightmare.
Yeah, from if you've seen A Christmas Story, and the thing that he had to wear Christmas morning, Jackman is wearing it willingly because he's a real.
Because I'm a team player.
Exactly.
That's right.
The one thing that I would like to say though, goddamn, this fucking band is loud as shit, and they are not good. The one thing I would like to say though is after this break, we'll be breaking down all of the action from Christmas Chaos, emanating live from historic Davis Arena, originally on what?
That was December 16th.
The 16th, right after this.
Hey guys, Tiny Brian here, and actually want to take a little. You've heard me talk about Bluegrass Homefront here in this space for several weeks now. I'm going to take a little break from that to talk about a little OVW thing, or an OVW podcast thing, and that is, you just heard about it. We now have our YouTube channel running. YouTube.com/OVW podcast. All of our episodes will now start to release videos, starting with episode 20, the episode that released on Tuesday for the Nightmare Before Christmas Chaos episode. You can get that. You can get all of our interviews, starting with Al Snow. The Al Snow interview will post to the YouTube channel next Thursday, so look for that. Look for shorts. Look for all kinds of madness only on the OVW Podcast YouTube channel. Now back to the OVW Podcast YouTubing for their channel, already in progress.
And I'd like to say this, and I know we're supposed to act like we can't hear the ad, but I'm going to break the fourth wall a little bit. I don't shave my legs for nothing. So if you guys aren't tuning in to the YouTube channel, then we're going to stop doing it. And actually, I'll quit the whole fucking podcast if you guys don't start tuning into the YouTube channel. That's a promise. A very tentative promise.
Not only are you invited to listen to our silly bullshit, now you can also see our silly bullshit. Live in Technicolor, as the kids say.
And we make more money on YouTube than we do on Spotify, so just like watch it on YouTube.
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
No. Nobody's getting
Don't
paid.
tell them we get paid.
Oh, yeah, no. No, Brian, we don't. There's no money involved.
Oh, God. Okay.
Except for that $20 you spent to buy pizza earlier. That money was real. All the rest of the money though that is involved in this podcast is very conceptual.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah, don't bring that up again.
So let's get to the pay-per-view.
Do you want to start at the pay-per-view or you want to start at the pre-show?
I mean,
Let's start
I
the pre-show.
did give you the pre-show
Let's do
stuff.
let's
so
do the
the
pre-show.
pre-show's pretty interesting.
So Dinero, Jebediah Blackhawk, that was our first match in the pre-show. As opposed to most of the time on Ohio Valley Wrestling Television and definitely on pay-per-view, we actually got to see the pre-show in the feed this time.
Yes, we did.
You and Tiny Brian, producer Brian, were there. I was not.
Yes.
So you guys saw the pre-show in person.
No.
Well, we saw some of the pre-show.
That would imply that we were early, and in fact, we were not.
Okay.
No, we got there before the actual.
We did get
7
there
o'clock bell.
before the actual bell, but
And then we got there at the end of the three-way women's match, which is Bout 2 of the pre-show. So.
Oh, well, then there you are. I figured that there was a pre-show, but I was not aware of who would be part of that, and now I know. And knowing is half the battle.
It's kind of crazy to me, and we'll get more into this as we delve through this podcast or delve through this pay-per-view, whatever, it's kind of crazy to me that there were 3 matches for women on this OVW pay-per-view, and only 2 of them were competitive. And one of them was on the pre-show. That was, of course, the one between Shalonce Royal, Iron Girl TiTi, and Harley Jane.
Harley Jane, this time not looking like dollar store Haley J.
For me, personally, there's like little to no build up for this match, which is fine. We hadn't really seen these 3 interact on television. That's fine. I do not know why that match, with the people that are in it and the quality of match that it was not on the pay-per-view, and we couldn't see that fucking debacle between the Bad Girls Club and the Vaughn Rockits on the pre-show.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And not realizing that there were 3 matches before the actual pay-per-view started, I was unaware that what the matches were until just now, and I'm sure that a match of that caliber would have outshined the Vaughn Rockits Bad Girls Club segment, which was supposed to be a match and technically was a mess.
And it's not that they didn't belong on the pay-per-view. It's not that didn't belong on the pay-per-view or those performers didn't belong on the pay-per-view. It's that was actually one of the most egregious things I've ever seen in wrestling television in general. And I sat through a Playboy bra and panties lumberjill match once. So we'll get there. A lot to talk about on this little pay-per-view tonight.
So Ragnar the Ruthless got his first win during the pre-show.
And who'd he beat? ZDP. Guy can't buy a win for shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. You want to? So let's start at the beginning. Let's go to the right. Let's go to the proper show, right?
All right. Gonna go ahead and dig right on in, huh?
Yeah.
As
I
far
think we've covered everything. I'm in a bad mood tonight, Brian. It's gonna be one of those type of shows tonight.
Are you sure?
It doesn't have to be, but it's gonna be.
Oh, it's gonna be, whether you like it or not.
No, whether you like it or not. I'm having fun no matter what. Main show, TW3 Bo Amir. That's the first match of the show.
Yeah, we got there right as that was beginning. I was surprised to see Bo Amir make a Christmas Chaos pay-per-view appearance, because he's only been on to my recollection once.
That's actually a really good
point.
Was it twice?
Yeah.
During our podcasting and what have you, like the kids say.
I felt pretty much exactly the same way. It was someone that I had kind of not because he's not impressive or not because he doesn't have like a lot of screen presence or a lot of charisma, but he was someone that I had forgotten about because I hadn't seen him on TV in so long.
And he's not currently part of the TW3 storyline or the Rush Division storyline. It's like TW3 just rolled the dice, and it's like, okay, you get Bo Amir, boom, and action.
For me, though, this is exactly why you have someone like TW3 on the roster. Is maybe he didn't know until 10 minutes before the show happened that he was going to have that match. But he rose to the occasion. He made Bo Amir look like $1 bajillion.
Oh, yeah.
Worked all the way around him. Like, really, like, Bo Amir's impressive. Bo Amir is a presence in the ring. There's parts of him that aren't fully developed yet. But when you're in there with someone like TW3, 20 years worth of experience, knows how to work around that and knows how to make you look like you're a fucking world killer the way that he did, like that was a really, really, really good choice in a night of choices that I have contention with. Is this supposed to be Smells Like Teen Spirit?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
That purports to be Smells Like Teen Spirit.
For
Yikes,
a song you really don't have to be on key for, they are way off key.
Talk about acting stupid and contagious.
No, but seriously, like this for me, this is not necessarily a match about Omar Amir versus TW3. This is a match about
or Bo Amir. Even.
Bo Amir.
Omar being a totally different person.
Yeah, his cousin Omar Amir. Yeah, who I guess just goes by Omar now. No, Bo Amir. You're right. I'm sorry. this was really a match for TW3 to me to show exactly what he's good at. I can have a match with anybody. I know anybody. I know every body type. I know every match type. I know what to do. So put me in, coach.
Yeah,
and
he did.
TW3 is so popular, he doesn't need a storyline. You just throw him in there with somebody, and the crowd is going to go crazy.
He could have wrestled a mop and gotten everybody in the place behind him.
As the man said himself, I'm the Midwest ace because I can have a match with anybody and it's going to be good.
Yeah, as the kids say, he's got the Riz.
Find that quote in our feed, in our interview with TW3.
Do it. Find it.
So when we were kind of like working our way up to this match or this night of matches, I said that I thought Blanco, Loco, and Will Austin, the future Will Austin, were going to be match of the night. And you guys looked at me like I was crazy. Turns out I probably was, because match of the night, this next one we're about to talk about.
This was incredible to watch live.
Jack Vaughn, Tony Gunn.
Yeah.
Father-to-be. Rematch for the OVW Heavyweight Championship. As perfect of a ladder match as I've ever seen. WrestleMania, what is that, 14? No. What would that? I guess WrestleMania 12?
Are you talking about Razor Ramon versus
Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
Better than that.
It was a very satisfying match.
It was incredible. These two guys did, and it's so easy sometimes to, when you see live wrestling, especially like live wrestling when you're only like in a crowd of like 400, like you are at the Davis Arena. It's so easy to get manipulated by the stipulation, right? To say, oh, it's a ladder match, so it's good automatically. And it might not actually be that good.
No.
This is as good of a ladder match as I've ever seen in my life.
I would like to know how much of Jack Vaughn's spine is still intact.
That finish was incredible.
Yeah.
I think I got a still of that, and he's like just hovering, and you know what's going to happen, and you can feel how bad what is going to happen next is going to hurt. And all I got to say is, I don't envy Jack Vaughn one bit after that match, because I'm sure he went home and was sore, so sore. Ouch.
There's a part in this match where Tony Gunn slingshots Jack Vaughn into the rope, and Jack Vaughn hits the ropes and then uses his momentum from the slingshot to just instantly start climbing the ladder.
That was great.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I'm not saying he invented it, but I can't remember if I've ever seen that before. And that was amongst the best spots I've ever seen in a ladder match.
Yeah.
Like, I really cannot. If you watch one match from this show, make it that one. Make it that one. Tony Gunn, of course, wins, beats Jack Vaughn, retains his OVW championship. We want to say, as a podcast, congratulations, sir, with a young baby Gunn on the way.
Congratulations, Mr. Gunn. Champion Gunn.
Darling of me and Mrs. to you.
I have, just one more thing before we move on. Like that ending spot where they had the ladder suspended between the standing ladder and the ropes, so that it was laying horizontal for Jack to fall across off the top of the ladder.
Yeah,
Has that ever been? I've watched ladder matches. I've watched tables, ladders, and chairs matches. I have never seen something like that.
I've seen it in
Okay,
one of
this
the
is why you guys are the hosts.
the bigger competitors, and I can't remember who was in the match, but I saw a ladder that was stretched from the hardest part of the ring. I put that in there for you.
The apron.
And the announce desk. And somebody went through that.
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay.
I believe the proper term is hurdy.
If we're just talking about great ladder matches from recent memory, there was one on NXT. I think it was a 4-way ladder match from like 3 or 4 years ago. Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Adam Cole. We don't like to talk about the bigger guys, but since you mentioned it, Tiny Brian, that's a hell of a match. You should watch it, and all of our listeners should watch it as well. Really, like, we can't say anything more, right? Like,
about that match?
Yeah, I will not spoil this match by talking about it. I will leave it up to our dear listeners to actually just watch it.
As well you should. If I agree with you. If you watch one match from Christmas Chaos, this would be the one to catch.
Next match, Maximo Suave, my new close personal best friend, Maximo Suave, and my soon-to-be best enemy, Deget Bundlez. They were the next match of the night. Again, kind of a cold match, little out of nowhere. Two guys that know how to wrestle, two guys that know how to take up a ring and know how to take up time. But there was nothing storyline-wise that invested me in this match.
Well, I mean, there wasn't an actual story that led up to it, and it wasn't part of an ongoing story. But as it was standalone, I mean, it was a relatively short night for our boy Maximo. To get Bundlez comes out on top.
Unfortunately, I think that Maximo is just the type of worker that is going to lose matches like this. And that's not like me taking away from his ability, because there's really nothing for me to take away from. But he's just a little too good to not lose matches like this. I hate to. That is not me being disparaging by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, that's probably the biggest compliment you can give a wrestler, is that you're so good you can lose. But I don't get the connection with Deget Bundlez in general. I don't.
Feels like they're on the verge of trying to give him a little push. Like, this feels like setting the table for 2024 more than resolving anything from previous.
Also, they've made mention of his faction more than once.
Well, and let's get
and referring to him as the silverback of the Gorilla Gang. So I would imagine that means that he will be joined by some younger compatriots in the coming year.
Do you remember how we were talking to Al Snow about when people that don't watch wrestling have a problem with it, like in terms of when they accused him of being like violent towards women because of head? You remember that in our interview?
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't watch wrestling is going to hear them refer to him as the silverback gorilla of his gang, and they are going to be like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
Honestly, it set off.
It's a little.
It's like, oh my.
Maybe it's a little, maybe not what I would say. Right.
Yeah.
And let's Deget Bundlez is black. We all know what when
there are things that have been said about
yes.
people of African American descent to be disparaging at various times, and
it's just not. I would have never, as a professional broadcaster or somewhat professional broadcaster, I would have never tried to delve into that territory at all. So maybe we just dial that back a little bit. But who am I to complain? I don't know anything. Deget Bundlez, of course, takes the win over Maximo Suave. We love Maximo, but wasn't your night tonight, kid.
Unfortunately not.
The next fight was the fight that I had, not without good intention, but I had called it what I thought was going to be match of the night. It really wasn't for me. I don't think that it was a bad match between Orion, the former Blanco Loco, and the future Will Austin. These are two guys that I know beyond the shadow of a doubt can burn the barn down. For me, true. I just don't know. The most excited I got during this entire match was watching them sell for each other. There was like literally no spot for me where I thought either one of these guys were doing what I knew they could do. For me, the most exciting thing was I think Orion hit an O'Connor roll halfway to during a sell, and that was the thing that I took away as being the most exciting part of the entire match. I know we're not done because I know the way that OVW tells stories, but I really want the next time I see these two guys in the ring with each other to be the blowout,
the slobber knocker, the knockdown drag out.
Yeah, and the way that OVW tells things, the way that OVW does things, it's not like some of the other like national and international competitors. But I really did walk into this match wanting something along the lines of Ospreay Ricochet from Best of the Super Juniors 2015. And I didn't get, to be honest, I felt like I got something from like, Indie Corporation in the early 90s. It was slow and it was deliberate, and doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's a bad match. I just wanted so much more from these two guys.
I figured it would have been a much more fast-paced, high-flying match. And it was not that. That's not to say that it was a bad match. It was a very solid match on behalf of both competitors. And I agree with you. I hope that the next time we see these two... The next time we see these people get together in the ring, we get that match. The high-flying, knockdown, drag-out, fast-paced, high-energy...
Well, and to be honest, the build to this wasn't tremendous either. So, like, not only was the build a little cold, but you put me into a match that should have been all over the place, high-flying, and then it just wasn't. So, like, to me, I think there's three people that got fucked over in this thing. I think that Will Austin got fucked over. I think Orion got fucked over, and I think that us as the fucking fan got fucked over during this whole thing, the build, the match, and everything else. However, having said that, these two guys, if there's any two guys on the roster that can make up for maybe a misstep, it's these two guys. These two guys.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward, and it's OVW. Sometimes when stories end, they've got another 3 or 4 weeks. Sometimes when stories have another 3 or 4 weeks, they end abruptly. I think that this is one that we're going to see probably up until the middle of March.
So it's like another Southern goodbye where this is just like, hey, I'm acknowledging that this is happening, and then we're going to see it go on for like another 3 months or so.
There wasn't even a stipulation to this match. This is definitely not the last match.
Well, and it's OVW, so guess what? It ain't over till there's a stipulation.
Exactly. And frankly,
that's not me complaining.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the big matches end with a stipulation.
No, and from my standpoint, there is no complaining from me during the course of this podcast, because I'm happy to be a part of all of it. I was happy to be in attendance at Davis Arena. I was happy that Tiny Brian drove me there. I was happy that we got to go out and watch the wrestling like we do sometimes. And I'm going to complain about that.
Okay, all right. Listen, Brian. People call you the emotional centerpiece of this podcast.
Wait, who?
People. Magazine.
People. People Magazine.
Them,
all right.
And they talk a lot.
They do. Yeah.
What I want to say is I don't disagree, Brian. That is the strength that you bring every week to this podcast, is your outlook, how great of a guy you are, how much of an open heart you have. Brian, during this holiday season, I would like to say that I appreciate you. Having said that, you said you don't want to complain. Just answer this.
Oh, Lord.
What do you think of the next match? Because you don't want to complain, right?
I don't want to complain. However, anything that I might say that could be considered at all disparaging is said with love.
Nah, fuck this match. That's what I like.
Are you talking about the Vaughn Rockets and the Bad Girls Club?
I am.
That wasn't really a match.
No, exactly.
There was no bell. There was no ding 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 at the beginning. The part about this segment that I
keep talking dirty to me, baby. I love
liked
it.
the least was so they've brought Dream Girl Ellie into the Bad Girls Club, which I think is a great move, and she is a perfect addition. And
absolutely,
quite frankly, her skill set outshines everybody else combined, as far as her tenacity and her just being able to take anybody down and put them in a submission hold like that.
Can I pause you right there?
Okay.
Tiny Brian or producer Malachi, my guest is here. If you could get them, that would be great. I really appreciate it. We can cut this later.
No, we can't.
It's Miss Alex is her name.
She has to know the password.
No, look, like I said this on the Go Home Show review of this match. We've done such a good job, deservedly so, of putting over the OVW Women's Division, of saying that the OVW Women's Division is better than the big guys, because it is.
Yeah.
And then this piece of shit gets floated out there. And I just, this is like the most 2004 Raw Vince McMahon at the nobody can tell me no, like bra and panty bullshit I've ever seen in my life. And I'm so surprised that not only did it happen on OVW television, but it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere. Like it looks like it's going to continue to happen on Ohio Valley Television week in and week out.
Well, getting back to my original point, the part that I had the biggest problem with was Dream Girl Ellie, and it wasn't her as a person, but I mean, before she joined the Bad Girls Club, she was very formidable.
Yes.
Even more so here recently, her skill set after training with Malachi Black. And, I mean, she's made significant progress that is noticeable week in, week out. And she's, like, they dress her up, and she kind of has a Martha Plimpton vibe from 200 Cigarettes, if you're familiar with that movie.
I was kind of thinking that she reminded me of the goth girl or the weirdo girl from Breakfast Club. Ali Sheedy.
Yeah, okay.
When she gets dressed up, and then all of a sudden the football player's interested in her. Yeah, and me, 15-year-old Jackman, was like, "Oh wait, she was hot the whole time. What do you mean?" That's kind of like what this reminds me of. Is they've put a new paint of code on her, and she's not the Dream Girl Ellie that I have been a fan of for the last little bit. And I think it's going to serve the storyline over time. But I really hate to see this new version of Dream Girl Ellie after the tutelage from Malachi Black. I really hate to see her kind of get her legs taken out from underneath her, because I thought the trajectory she was on was fine.
Yeah, she was like white hot.
Yeah, and granted,
still is.
Granted, this is going to end up being like a great, really paid off, thoughtful storyline. I know it will be, because I have faith in OVW. I have faith in Al Snow. I have faith in the writers and the bookers of this program, in a way that I don't have faith in the big guys most of the time.
No,
but I really do. I question. I do question, when Dream Girl Ellie was so white hot, why did we have to change her right now?
I'm sure that there are reasons that we are not yet aware of. At least I sincerely like to think that that is the case, but we will see.
And then not only that, but she's only been a part of the group for about a week, and her and Layla already have issues with each other.
Yeah. So maybe this will be the internal combustion engine that knocks the wheels off the Bad Girls Club. Who knows?
Next match was a championship bout for the Country Boy Kentucky Heavyweight Championship title.
Yeah, it was. And before we get into talking about the match itself, a lot of times in wrestling there is foreshadowing. Mm-hmm. You can see a segment that appears before a match, and based on how the segment goes, you might have a decent indication of how the match might go. Superior Tony Evans, fine, outstanding individual on the OVW programming. Love his mic skills.
One of the best.
Big
Truly.
fan of his. Goes out and kills it week after week. But going out and cutting a promo like this before this match, I'm not really used to seeing him being used in that way, like almost as a comic foil.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all the intensity was there, but the lines were just a little different than usual. So I kind of figured that I had an idea of how things were going to go, and it turns out that I was right. Although Superior Tony Evans, being the country boy heavyweight champion, wrestled a hell of a match, it was not his not his night. So I would like to offer my congratulations to the new Kentucky boy heavyweight champion, Star Rider.
Two things for me. One that you touched on. Yeah, it was very apparent from the moment, because as he does most of the time before his matches, he got a promo. It was very apparent to me that he knew that he was going to lose.
Yeah.
He walked through the curtain like a loser walks through the curtain. Like, sometimes, and that's okay. Like, you don't always win these things. No championship is forever. But me, as a viewer, I'm supposed to believe that this is a competitive bout. I'm supposed to believe that you're going out there like your life is on the line, and I didn't get that from him walking through the curtain. That's first things first. Second thing is, it was time for him to leave that belt behind. It was time for somebody else to be the champion, and it was time for Star Rider to be a champion. Again.
Yeah.
So I think that as far as like business goes, this was everything that it had to be. Tony Evans needs some time off. Not like I'm tired of seeing him, but guy needs a breather. Guy works so hard.
Yeah.
Guy works so hard.
He is a very hard-working individual.
Give him a few weeks off. Bring him back as in a little bit of a different of a package, and people will love him.
Well, here is what I want to know following the last couple weeks' stories with Tony Evans and Star Rider. Dinero was not allowed to be at ringside.
We did see him during the pre-show matches.
During the pre-show with a great match with Jebediah Blackhawk. Shout out to Mr. Blackhawk, the proud of the holler. And the fact that he wasn't allowed at ringside this time, and ultimately Tony Evans lost the belt here, makes me wonder whether or not they are going to be parting ways, and Dinero will be sparking a singles career instead of just being a hired gun for
I actually
Tony Evans.
thought about this because we had talked about it a few weeks ago. I know we said what does the babyface run of Tony Evans look like?
Right.
I know what it looks like right now. I've thought about it. We haven't heard Dinero talk a lot, if at all.
On camera, no.
We have here on this very feed, if you want to find it.
Which you can find in our feed of podcast.
He's going to start talking a shitload. We're not going to see Tony Evans for a little bit. The moment Tony Evans comes back, what is he going to say to Dinero? Someone that we haven't heard talk forever, who just started talking as the storyline starts between him and Tony Evans. What does Tony Evans say to Dinero the moment he comes back?
Hush.
Exactly. That's where the fucking babyface turn is.
That's
fucking it right there. And you guys can have that one for free. I came up with that one all by my lonesome. But I really do think that's where we're going. Is Hush is way too over. Hush is way too good. Let's let Tony Evans breathe for a few weeks, and let's bring Hush back in a totally different context.
Who knows? Maybe he'll start doing charity work with a local animal shelter, and he can have Hush puppies.
So I already complained about Bad Girls Club and the Vaughn Rockits. This and like that really was, to me, that was egregious. That was like something that didn't have any place on the show. That was something that set all of the people in that segment back. This next match, I understand the outcome of, even though I don't support it. If you're a listener of the show, you know how I feel about the team formerly known as Lion Chops.
Oh, I know.
Thank God, formerly known as Lion Chops. currently known as, for whatever reason, the Golden Lions, which is only slightly better than Lion Chops.
It's like Golden Earring and White Lion had a baby, and it ended up being an OVW tag team.
It's, well, see, here's the thing is I like White Lion.
I'm sorry.
Cashflow and Mauled by Shira, they're this fucking wishy-washy, like thrown together Lego piece tag team.
Netflix
motivated tag team, and I wanted to drill Al so hard about that. I really did. I really wanted to drill Al and say, "Oh, you've never made a booking decision about Netflix. Nothing that happened on Netflix has ever affected any decision that's been made in OVW." But I didn't do that because the guy was going to knock the shit out of me if I tried to do that.
Actually, he was going to knock the shit out of me to get to you to knock the shit out of you.
I was putting Brian in danger by suggesting that Al has ever done anything he didn't want to do. And
That's
Brian,
right, folks. I was a human shield.
I'll put myself in danger. I'm not putting you in danger, buddy. Couldn't do this without you. You're the heart and soul of this podcast. You can find any other dumb fucking drunk asshole to come in here and complain about wrestling week to week, but you're the thing that makes this work. So I was not going to get you hit, all right? But like, you just can't tell me, you literally cannot tell me that those two did not get put together because of Netflix. And you cannot tell me they didn't win because of Netflix.
Of course. And that was the point that Beaches and Cream were trying to make. That's why they did what they did.
And that's why I support Beaches and Cream.
Yeah, and I get it, but let me tell you this. The pop they got was the biggest pop of the night.
Biggest
by
pop
far,
of the night.
By far.
Oh, my goodness.
In that moment, it was insane.
Yeah.
But I will say that I put on our social feed earlier this week a way for our audience to tell us what they're most excited about for this, and the Beaches and Cream rematch won by a landslide. That seems to be where the people's heart is.
Well, I mean, that's where we're going. First off, yeah, like that's definitely what's going to end up happening. We're not OVW, for better or for worse. God love them, God bless them. Sometimes these matches, sometimes these storylines last way too long. Sometimes they last. I've even said this in the course of this episode. We're not out of the woods on Beaches and Cream and Malabai Shira and Cashflow, whatever they want to call themselves that week. We're just not.
No, and it's going to go well into the spring, I'm sure. But that's where we are for now.
And I know, I'm going to complain some more. Back to the fucking Netflix thing. It is the holiday season. And it is very regular, very normal to tell stupid people that things exist that don't exist. But I'm not 17 anymore, and I don't believe in Santa anymore. So don't tell me that you didn't put Mauled by Shira and Cashflow together because of Netflix.
I think we've already covered that.
And next, yes. I am actually fucking mad about it. Like, I am actually, like, not okay about it.
Tell me how you really feel about this.
Well, in a few weeks when Troy and Amber are back in town and I get to sit down with them at my weekly therapy meeting, they'll be hearing about Cashflow and Mauled by Shira. Because that's how, like, I am losing sleep over how dumb this fucking thing is. I am losing sleep over them being champions.
Not me.
Well,
do you want to challenge them? I feel like you're building up.
No, have you seen those two guys? Do I want to fight either one of them? Fuck no.
You're going to turn into pulp if you do.
Yeah. Heavy pulp.
He will payload you out of this world.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
All right. Where are we at? I've been complaining long enough.
We pick up next with one of the more anticipated matches of the evening, at least for my money.
From everybody here, for sure.
And that would be the ambulance match between OVW Rush Division champion Cow Hero and friend of the show versus Human Thumb and General Annoyance, Adam Revolver.
And this was a great match, first off.
Yes, it was.
I think it also kind of some prophecies that we had foreseen came true through this match. This match really was, for me, just an excuse to show off how good the Davis Arena looks now.
Fantastic.
Like, it really was, like, and was it a great match, and were they able to do all the things that they were supposed to do in the middle of it? They totally were. But for me, this was, hey, we've been putting a lot of work, triple six digits, $150,000 plus more of work into this place. Let's show it off on pay-per-view. We saw it all around the ring. We saw backstage, I think, a little bit. We went outside. The outside segment, I would put up there with, there's a Jon Moxley match from like 2008. And, you know, I know we don't try to talk about the big guys. It's a CCW match where they follow the three competitors. It's a triple threat. They follow the three competitors outside, documentary style. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in wrestling. As soon as they went outside, that's what I immediately got reminded of one of my favorite wrestling matches of all time, watching this OVW match. And they kind of did it a little bit better than that CCW match, which is not a surprise. CCW is a fucking mess. But, like, this was everything that this match needed to be. As a fan, it showed you what the arena looks like. These two guys have been in a blood feud for months. I really think that this is the end of it. I don't know what else we can do after a hanging and a fireball and an ambulance and
mist
and pepper spray and mace. Yeah, like, I really don't know what else we can do between Cal Hero and Adam Revolver.
Or anything that really needs to be done.
Or anything that, I think, for me, Cal Hero, first, loses the belt to TW3. Second, challenges for the big belt. I think that we...
You think maybe he's headed for the Kentucky belt?
I think he's heading for the OVW Heavyweight Championship. I think that he will probably beat Tony Gunn for it. And I think that there's nothing else that you can do with him that makes sense other than putting him in that conversation. He's done everything with the Rush Division belt, and he's really, really, really put a lot of importance on that belt. And it needed it. It needed someone like Cal Hero. It needed a strong, consistent babyface champion like Cal Hero. But he's ready for the next thing. And I think he deserves it. And I can't wait to be there when he wins it.
Yeah, our little boys all grows up.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. What a great guy. What a great guy.
He is. Really. Hell of a guy.
Here he is right here.
Yeah.
Love you, Cal. One of our first nights here, the first things we ever did for this podcast was the big one, where he entered first of 10 men, right?
That's
for
right.
that faction versus OVW match.
Right, and
Yes.
he Iron Manned it. He was there from the beginning of the match,
Start
to
to
the end of the
finish.
match. And I looked up, and maybe I had a tear in my eye, maybe I didn't, but I gave him the double thumbs up, and he gave me the double thumbs up back. And in that moment, I was a child. Like Cal really does have this like crazy quality about him, where I know that this is supposed to be. I'm not supposed to take maybe OVW seriously as I take other stuff. Or I know that like we're talking about fake fights and men in their underwear. You know, I don't care when I watch Cal. I really don't. For me, he's Cody Rhodes or like somebody like that, where I just want him to do well in this world, and I don't care about any of the I don't care about anybody's outside opinion on him. I just want him to do well. I almost like need him to do well. It's strange. It's strange to watch somebody like that I've had personal interactions with, that I still just like want to win so badly.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got a great personality.
Yeah.
He's got a great skill set. He's got a magnetism about him, and we certainly hope for the best for everything he can get in 2024.
When I say like white meat, babyface in the style of Cody, like he is. Like he is. He's actually a lot more dusty than he is Cody, and like that's as big of a compliment as you can give a babyface in this day and age. Period.
Son of a plumber.
He's the son of a promoter, actually, right?
Well,
he should run with that. Son of a promoter, he should run with that.
Why not?
Because I mean, all the wrestling fans would know he's comparing himself to Dusty, and then
yeah.
everyone else would know. Oh yeah, we love second generation guys. You know, like Cal, you can have that one for free too. Cal Hero, of course, ends up retaining his Rush Division Championship over Adam Revolver.
After a perilous finish where it looked as though Adam Revolver was done for, and then at the very last second, oh no, Cal might be the one that's thrown into the ambulance, but lo and behold, Cal Hero comes out on top.
It was a seriously, like, as far as stuff that happened in the ring, it was the Tony Gunn Jack Vaughn match for me.
Yeah.
As far as just like an actual wrestling experience and all of the things that wrestling can be, it was this match for me. As far as match of the night goes,
being there in attendance while this was happening, everything that went from the ring to the ambulance was not on the brand new Jumbotron. And
It did eventually get up there.
It did eventually, but
Took a
there
little
was
while.
like a 3 to 5 minute stretch where we weren't entirely sure what was happening because we were on the opposite end of the massive Davis
Completely
Arena.
full Davis.
Yes.
I asked Joe Cooley, Santa, and head security, and just really all
around good guy.
Yeah.
The best.
I asked him, had he ever seen Davis Arena with more people than what was in it for Christmas Chaos? And he said once. And there were no chairs. It was standing room only.
Wow.
So I wouldn't want to go to that show.
No. I like being able to sit and watch the matches and then go to the snack bar. Did you know that they were giving out free samples of Danos?
well, I mean, for me, it really just depends which one. They got the original, which is great.
Sure.
They got the spicy, which is good. They got the chipotle now. That's really good too.
The chipotle's good.
It's
fire.
What can't you do, Daniel? You put it on pizza, put it on celery.
I put it
doesn't
on
matter.
pizza.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You go to McDonald's, you make some aioli out of it. You ever get some Duke's mayo? You put a little bit of a Dano seasoning in it. You stir it up. You dip your fries in it. It's all really good.
Yeah, it is. And if you're a fan of Danos, yum yum, get you some. This was the day for you to come to
No, seriously, like
Davis Arena because
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
it was everywhere. It was
on the fucking ladder.
Yeah, it was on the ladder.
Like,
It was
and
on the
during the
trash
ladder match.
can.
It's on the garbage
It's on the
can.
trash can during the
It was.
plunder match. It was everywhere.
There were
ridiculous.
banners. There were
Ridiculous.
koozies filled with sample packs. It was like being back in the 80s when they would mail you free samples of Tide.
That's like,
It was just everywhere. And hats. Oh, my God, the hats.
And like now that we've had a little bit of one-on-one time with the broadcasting team, 2/3 of the broadcasting team, there were some times where I thought that Mr. Kinnison and Mr. Danson were a little fed up with having to mention Danos every 5 seconds.
After having talked to those two,
I wouldn't have known
I
it without
haven't-
talking to them, but yeah, you're right.
I haven't gone and actually watched the video of the pay-per-view. I was there, so we weren't able to hear the commentary. I was more in the moment. I didn't take any notes or anything. I was just there to observe, as I always am for the live events. But after speaking with them at great hilarious length, I can see them getting a little fed up if they have to keep going over the same thing.
He's
again.
got the Danos ladder. It was ridiculous. And then,
Season's greetings brought to you by Dano's Seasoning.
but you mentioned, you didn't get to hear the commentary
No.
because you were in person. I was watching it on TV. This was actually the match where I was very jealous of you guys getting to go. I was celebrating one of my very good friend's birthdays. Wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Happy birthday.
Miss Ellie, happy birthday. But this was one of the reasons why I was glad I watched it on broadcast. It was this match. And getting to see all of the outside, getting to hear the
Sure.
commentary. I really do think that part of the experience would have been taken away for me personally if I watched particularly this ambulance match in person.
I really wanted to get outside so I could watch the outside segment live, and I wasn't able to do that because there was too much foot traffic between me and the door. So I missed out on that. But I will say that the dents that Adam Revolver caused in that trailer next to the ambulance by ramming Cow Hero's head into it, the owner of that trailer was particularly proud of the fact that their trailer is now dented by Cow Hero's head.
I'm going to be honest. The way that they shot that on camera would suggest to me that the trailer was dented before. If you watch, he gets thrown into it. You don't actually see the impact, and then it pans down to the dent. I think that trailer was dented before. Far be it for me to take away those people's pride and joy. I just think that we had a little bit of like actual, just like smart camera maneuvering.
That could very well be the case, but I'm not going to alter my suspension of disbelief.
And also, Cal's too good of a guy to get a possible concussion. I won't stand for it. I will not accept that he may have actually collided with that
licensed piece of equipment.
That piece of equipment, okay. Because I don't want him to be hurt.
Neither do I.
Also, shout out to Mayor Craig Greenberg. It must be nice to know people because that was an actual City of Louisville ambulance that they were using. I enjoyed that little piece of information. So next match, if you listen to the show, you know that I love ridiculous special guest referee outfits. For me tonight, Haley's special guest referee outfit was not ridiculous enough.
No.
But her refereeing was ridiculous.
The refereeing actually made up for the fact that the outfit was not ridiculous.
Yeah, it ends in a really, really, really fast count. Freya the Slayer beats Tiffany Nieves, former champion. Tiffany Nieves, Freya the Slayer, of course, a former champion as well. What do we got? What's going to happen? First Thursday show of the month, first weekly show of the month. What do you think is going to happen between these three ladies? Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you want to watch? Do we need to see this again? No.
Well, I'm gonna watch it again.
I'm gonna watch it. And like, I honestly also thought that I think Tiffany is a really, really, really great heel champion. I think that her getting it, I think that it was a little premature for her to be taken away from that title. And also, I don't know that Haley J, needs to be in the title conversation anymore because I think she doesn't need a belt.
I would agree with that. She doesn't necessarily need a belt because she's already over.
She is.
In the hearts of the OVW fans, in the audience of the Netflix series Wrestlers.
So Maria said that there's 75 people on the roster,
something like that.
There are 74 people who would pull their teeth out to be as over as Haley J is.
Yeah,
she doesn't need a belt.
She doesn't.
She probably didn't need to be inserted in the storyline. And honestly, I probably feel a little bit differently about it if she wasn't. If it was a clean win, Freya got a clean win over Tiffany Nieves, I might have questioned it. But I wouldn't have disagreed with it in the way that I disagree with kind of Haley's role in this.
Well, yeah, that was just the, okay, we're going to have a match between these two because they are both, top contenders, and obviously Tiffany Nieves was the champion, but they just threw Holly Hood in there to make it interesting and chaotic because it was Christmas Chaos.
And to go back to the Bad Girls Club versus the Vaughn Rockits, I just kind of, between the only legitimate women's match on the card being a stipulation match and then that abortion of a match that was the Vaughn Rockits versus the Bad Girls Club, all of the praise that we have heaped on OVW's booking of their women's division, I'm starting to question right now. And they undid all of my goodwill in the course of what, 12, 15 minutes worth of matches?
Well, I don't know whether I would go so far as to agree with all of that, but that is one of the good parts about this podcast is you and I can discuss our thoughts on the OVW weekly show and come up with different points of views. I feel like, as far as Christmas Chaos goes, it was like opening presents on Christmas morning. And as a fan, I wanted to see this and this and this. Like, if you're growing up, you want, X, Y, and Z under the tree. And your parents know, or I'm sorry, Santa knows every gift that
Santa,
was.
yes. Malachi, mark that, check that out.
Santa put all the presents there. And he knows which ones are the smaller ones that you want to start with, and then, the big one that you really, really wanted that you don't think you're going to get to be the last. And I feel like whoever put the sequence in order kind of lost sight of that, maybe.
Well,
because there were some of the bigger pops happened earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And they could have happened later, and some of the things that happened later should have happened way earlier, or perhaps another time, or...
Main event of the night should have been the ladder match.
Yeah.
Opening match of the night probably should have been the Texas Tornado.
I disagree.
Where would you put that if it wasn't at the beginning?
The Texas Tornado? If we're going solely in terms of pop, main event. And I'll tell you why.
I don't disagree. I disagree for me, but I don't disagree from your point of view.
Okay, from my point of view, Christmas Chaos was just that. It was Christmas and chaos, which isn't always a great thing. If it were me and I had these matches with these people to put in whatever order I chose or whatever, I would have made the Texas Tornado match the final match, the main event. And, I mean, not taking into account how it went, but if that was how that match was going to play out, I cannot think of a bigger pop than the finale of that match. And then...
The credit should have rolled over that pop.
You finish that with Joe Cooley coming out as Santa and throwing candy canes to all the good little boys in the crowd, which did happen.
There weren't any girls there?
I said girls and boys.
No, you said boys.
I feel like you guys are stepping all around not talking about the final match of the night.
We haven't
over an hour. Can we get to the final match?
Well, okay, I do want to say one thing before we head on to the final match. There's this idea called the death spot. And that is the match before the main event. And traditionally speaking, it has gone to women's matches. And kind of like playing back into what we talked about before, my opinions on what we talked about before, my opinions on where the women's division is in OVW right now, it was a disservice to this match to put them where they put them. Kind of like tying into your thing about how the show was formatted. The losers, to me, of this entire evening was the women's division of Ohio Wrestling. Like, more so than EC3, which we'll cover in this next match, more so than Jack Vaughn, more so than anybody else. The losers of this evening were the fans in the women's division. Stop me when I'm telling a lie. Let's talk about the last match. We producer Tiny Brian is moving us along.
Yeah. I would have put this first.
You would have okay.
I would have made this first for the sole reason of it.
And which match are we talking about? Real
this
quick?
Would be the final match between Jesse Goddard's and EC3, the Chain Chaos match. I would have started off with this because it took 20 minutes to get the ring ready.
And I wasn't
for
even
this
there.
match.
I wasn't even there.
A third of the people left.
Yeah.
Because of that. And I mean, God love Joe Cooley for going out and entertaining the crowd and stunning the shit out of the Grinch.
Yeah.
That part was fantastic.
Do you think that was our
phenomenal.
friend, the masked mayor that was in the Grinch outfit? I think it was.
I don't know.
Just a conjecture.
He doesn't return my calls.
No, I mean, seriously. You're not only from a formatting point of view, you're 100% right. They should have opened the night with this. They should have got EC3 out of there before, so he can make his flight or his Greyhound or his Proud Boys meeting or whatever it is he does.
Hitch the ride.
And that it because of nothing else other than having to exchange the ring ropes with chains, this should have been first match of the night.
Yeah.
And also, respectfully, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares about these two guys? This angle is hot as shit. This angle is like beautiful. It's been so well done. And the moment you put these two guys in a ring with each other, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
Even when they cut their promos,
it doesn't matter.
It's Captain Whispers versus the Mumble Man.
Yeah.
And then he roll and Jesse Goddard's. I found that whole Scooter thing hilarious when he was a heel. Now that he's a face,
baby faces walk. Baby faces walk.
Yeah, it slows his energy down. Like, yeah, I felt the energy just went out of the room with this match. They wouldn't interact with the chains for one thing.
Half of the match was outside of the ring, so that kind of makes the whole chained chaos
part.
Yeah,
so what's the point?
Kind of pointless.
Well, and so I'm a really big fan of FMW, because I'm a internet wrestling fan, so of course I love fucking stupid Japanese death matches. And one of the things that those matches are so good at is always, especially you're exploding barbed wire matches, is suggesting the danger of the barbed wire without actually you having to interact with it as the competitor. I don't even think there was a time where I, as the viewer, was suggested that the ring ropes now being chains was dangerous. The most dangerous thing I saw was just somebody getting hit with a chain. But I'm supposed to be scared as a viewer. I'm supposed to be scared of the ring ropes being chains, right? And there's just nothing like that. And I don't want to take away from either of these two guys, because up until tonight, up until this match, I was pretty into this. I like both of those guys. I think both of those guys look like they're cut out of fucking stone. But there's just something. There was just something that 2 + 2 = 5 on this.
Yeah, it just didn't translate.
And I just don't. I know we're not done with it, even though we should be, because it's a chain chaos match, second one in the history of how wrestling.
They might not be done with it, but I am.
I am done with it, and it is so easy, and I'll write myself off for being cynical wrestling asshole fan, whatever. I'll write myself off for it. But there just seems something so dead about this to me.
If I could sum up this match in one word, it's nope.
Nope. I guess we'll see what happens coming weeks, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to in 2024. The very first live event of the year is January 4th. I don't know if you're following along at home, but that is a special day for me personally. And then it's his birthday. The very first pay-per-view is that following Saturday, and I'm equally as excited about that.
And also, I just, for me, I was taken out of it before the match even started. And, I love Joe Cooley doing the backstage stuff dressed as Santa.
Oh, God, yeah.
This is supposed to be the most important angle of the night. This is supposed to be the prestige angle. This is supposed to be the big thing. I don't need him dressed as Santa interviewing the guys. I don't know why you didn't have Linda Kay back there. It's fine. It's literally fine for every other match of the night. It's not fine for the main event. It's not fine for Chain Chaos match. It's not fine for when I'm supposed to believe these two guys fucking can't stand each other. It just didn't. For me, there was so much stuff this night that was so confusing, and it still managed to be a really great night of Ohio Valley Wrestling Television. Still managed to be a great pay-per-view on top of and in spite of all the things that were confusing. But there would just, I mean, and I don't wrestle. I've never fallen on my back. I don't write TV. I don't know anything. But there are so many things that more than I can count on my fingers and on my toes that I would have changed from tonight, from Christmas Chaos.
You live, you learn, kid.
So they can't all be hits.
They can't all be hits, and
but
also
we still love the OVW.
And Al was by here this past week. Did I say a single word of that to him? Nope. And he doesn't listen to this thing, so it's fine. The OVW podcast, the 10th Carney Award-nominated unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling, is produced by Blacklight Moon Productions at Nut House Studios here in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW podcast broadcast team is me, Jack Minogues, and my co-host,
Brian Hines.
Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi P.S. Woodard. Our executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard. Senior producer here at The Blimp is Victor Anderson. After watching Wrestlers on Netflix, visit ovwpodcast.com/podcasters to find all of our episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Rate us 5 stars and give us a review. You can also follow us on all of your social medias, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, at OVW Podcast. Holidays are hard. Take care of yourself. I love you guys.
We love you guys.
See ya.